Agriculture is one aspect of the Nigerian economy that is an employer of labor for many. And over time, we've seen quite a number, a very high percentage of Nigerians have been engaging in agriculture. But there's a decline due to activities of banditry and other insecurity activities in the country. And now we have in the studio architect Kabiru Ibrahim, President All Farmers Association of Nigeria, to talk to us about the implication of the recent realities that we have been experiencing as far as agriculture is concerned. Good morning.
And good morning.
Welcome
How are you?
To the show.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you.
Now, in the 2022 budget, over 290 billion naira was allocated to agriculture. But some experts have said that that's like 1.8% of the recommendation of the Maputo declaration, which is 10% of the budget. Are we doing enough as far as agriculture production is concerned?
There are two things now you're talking about. The proposed 291 billion to agriculture, and then the Maputo declaration. We have to look at the total activity in the agriculture space and the total allocation to the cross-cutting issues in agriculture and the interventions from the CBN, NALDA, and many other windows. When you aggregate all those, we are doing over 10%. But there's still a proposal. This budget is a proposal. I'm not going to dwell on it because until it is passed, it is not something that we can talk about. So in the last 6 years, Nigeria has done a lot of work on agriculture. We have a lot of investments in agriculture, and it is far beyond the Maputo declaration. But you need to really look at everything. You aggregate everything and you see what is happening. But there are many, many threats to food production, one of which is insecurity. Insecurity is really a problem. I come from Katsina. I'm from the southernmost part of Katsina, and in my village, you cannot go 1 kilometer southwards to your farm. To that extent, production is really threatened, and this is all over Nigeria now. We used to have problems in the northeast. It came to the northwest, north central, and now it's all over the country. And there are many, many other threat factors. COVID-19 is an obvious one and is global. So, and of course, we don't have many things here that will really revamp agriculture, like mechanization. The findings of research don't come to the table readily, but now with the signing of the PVP Act, which we launched about 2.5 months ago, we will be able to do that. And then the ARCN bill, and then we have the Seed Act of 2019. So many, many things are happening, but it's work in progress. We are trying to get to food sufficiency before we get to food security. But a lot of work is being done by this administration.
Okay, do you think that it's time to have a look at how we do farming in Nigeria? You talk about mechanized farming, yes, but again, there's also another threat of insecurity. Is it time we begin to look at maybe bringing together farmers in clusters? In that way, you can provide security, adequate security, and even also introduce, or I would say adopt mechanized method of farming. Will that be a recommendation you will agree with, just like other experts have suggested?
Well, the thing that is happening is that farmers operate in clusters in many, many places already. We will do more. It is better to do more, as in the interest of the practitioners, to come together and have a cooperative association, at least to safeguard insecurity. But then again, when you mention technology or mechanization and all that, you have to understand that a lot of these things are brought from abroad, and you buy them. And we need to look inwards. The technology that is here must be such that we should be able to produce at least some parts of the equipment that we import abroad, and we should be able to really model what we bring so that we now adopt the technology and have it here, because the Nigeria is so vast and the requirement for mechanization is so vast. No country will just depend on importing it to do it. All the countries that are exporting what you are talking about, they started from here. If you take Brazil, we have a pact with Brazil that we are going to borrow 1.1 billion of mechanized items like tractors, combined harvesters, threshers, and all those things. Now, Brazil some time ago was referred to as a third world country. It started all these things inward, and then they are here now. If you take India, if you take all other countries of the world, that's how they started. So we must have technology adoption here. The science incubation centers have to work properly. All institutions have to work properly for us to be able to really get there. But if we depend on importation, we will never get there. Okay. Because the level of mechanization here is very, very low. If Kenya is a lot better than us.
Okay. So what level are we with food security in Nigeria?
Food security, but for the COVID-19 and this insecurity would have been very, very high. We were working on, and we were encouraging farmers to do agriculture as a business. And we were looking at our population in 2050, which would be like 400 million, and the total global population to be like 10 billion. And we were working on it. Then suddenly COVID-19 came, and then we are really drawn back. But this is global. Everywhere in the world is suffering the same fate. So for now, we need to work a lot more to get to food sufficiency, and we are a bit far away from food security. The things we have to work together, we have to synergize all the interventions that happen in the agriculture space, and then we will make progress towards food security. From the exact science, I cannot guess.
All right, now in terms of educating farmers, to, use the best inputs, the best way, the best methods, the best approach to boost production and all of that, how well are we taking advantage of that?
The interview you are having with me now is, I believe, I don't know your coverage, but most of our people are listening, and we are present in 774 local governments. We are in all the states, including FCT. As soon as we talk, people hear what we have to say. The farmers hear what we say in their own languages. So this is a work in progress. We are disseminating information as it comes to us. Now, technology in itself is being misunderstood properly. If we tell you the spacing between seeds that you plant, how to use fertilizer, how to even identify seed. We have the seed codex now. There are many improvisations in the agriculture space. Seed will have to be certified by the NASC. There is an act now. To know good seed, it has to pass the tests of NASC. And then there is an improvisation now that if you have a bag of any seed, there is something like you have on your recharge card. You remove it, you see the number, and you confirm that it is actually from that card. So we are doing a lot of work to be sure that we are using the right kind of thing. There are complaints about certain inputs, herbicides and all that are adulterated. We are teaching our people to look for the correct thing. When you look at it, you label it, you know exactly what it is. And then we are also working with scientists to get certain seed types that are resistant to some of these diseases, like pot borer and all those things, and striga and all. So many people are working. We have scientists in the field working, and they are releasing commercial quantities of seeds to be used. So a lot of work is going on, but we have to get all our act together.
Okay, so a follow-up to that will be that we are aware about this fertilizer control bill that your association is pushing for at the National Assembly. Can you highlight some of the provisions of that bill and what is it?
No, maybe you are mistaken. The fertilizer bill has been passed. In fact, now you cannot just sell fertilizer without regulation. It's regulated. We have the soil bill and we have the fertilizer bill. As far as we are concerned, fertilizers are being blended inwards, in country. And there is a lot of effort by Dangote, Indorama and all that to even do urea. So we are clear on what we want to do. But the distribution and subsidy is what is the problem now. Before now, 2 years, in the last 4 years, we have had the presidential fertilizer initiative, which was selling fertilizer to people at 5,500, and last year at 5,000 only. This year, that fertilizer is in the region of 11,200. So many people cannot afford it. Rather, some of them we hear are buying the components that you bring in from Morocco and abroad, and they are using it directly and blending themselves. But we have 44 blending plants, and they are monitored. They have an association, and they will not allow adulterated fertilizer to go into the market. This is real. I mean, I'm talking with them. We know them, and so many of my friends have got these facilities.
Okay. So now, how would you describe the status of genetically modified foods in Nigeria?
Well, there are quite a few of them that have been released already, and even on my farm today, there are some that I have planted. I'm looking at them. We have the PBR cowpea, which has been commercialized. It's the work was done in Zaria. Professor Ishak has been doing it. We have the Taylor maize now that is already out. And then, of course, we have been working on cotton. We have the Bolgat too and all that. So, and this is the fastest way for the farmer to get out of poverty. And then it's the fastest way also to get into or to get food security.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Now-
let me talk about acceptance. How is the level of acceptance?
You see,
by the public?
there is a difference between talking about something and scientifically analyzing it.
Right.
For me, you know, I told you my background is science, and we have traveled all over the world to look at what is happening on genetically modified foods. In 2017, I attended a global conference on food security in Ithaca. Ithaca is in Cornell and is the best university in agriculture. At that time, so many people came, and so many antis. These antis making noise about GM causing this, and we have challenged everyone. Show us any connection between disease and any of these crops. Scientific connection. Don't just sit in your home and say people will get sick by eating this. No, show us the nexus. Nobody has been able to do that. Now, all these ones you are talking about, PBR, like the PBR cowpea that I'm talking about, already in Nigeria we have a deficit of 500,000 metric tons of beans. The way to close it is to adopt this PBR cowpea. This PBR cowpea is safe. In fact, it was the work was done by led by Professor Ishaku. He is in IIR right now, and no scientist has shown that there is a connection between eating that and any disease. So the farmers also are not even concerned. You know, the farmers simply want to get out of this, and they eat this thing, and nobody has fallen sick because they have eaten it. It is up to you, the educated people, to now embrace what we are doing. If you embrace it, we will be better for it. Many of the things that you buy are really genetically modified. Any rice that comes into Nigeria, this yellow, whatever, they are all genetically modified. You know, what we must do, you know, in the United States, what they do is they label, this is organic food, this is GM food, this is inorganic food. We must be able to do that, because you cannot deceive people. People should have a choice.
Right.
You should be open and transparent on all these things. If this is GM, label it as GM. I have a choice. Okay. So that's it.
All right. Now, let's talk about, you know, insecurity some more, about, you know, the issues of farmer-herders clash and crisis. We've been seeing a whole lot of conversation and certain measures taken by some states. Some even go as far as, okay, we are banning open grazing and all of that as a way to curb the issue of farmer-herder, you know, crisis. What's the association doing, your association, as far as these conflicts are concerned? How have they been engaging, you know, in these conversations?
There are two issues now, you know, put together. The farmer-herder clash has been there from time immemorial. I started out as a child farmer. At 6, I was escorting my dad to farm on horseback. And what my recollection is that the so-called herders or pastoralists would be on the periphery of my father's farm. The people will be working on the farm. They are waiting for us to harvest, and then the animals will eat the residue. And they will drop dung, which we would use as fertilizer. We had a symbiotic relationship. Now, Mieti Allah and Afan, Mieti Allah belongs to Afan. I am a livestock farmer. I have cattle. I'm not, you know, it's wrong to imagine that somebody has cattle, so this one is not a farmer. No, We are together and we have had a very good relationship. But criminality came in. And these criminals are the ones that are carrying guns and hurting people. A lot of these things have happened. Even the current president, when he was in PTF, he caused some work to be done on the re-establishment of grazing routes and grazing reserves and drinking places from Dankama in Katsina State to Oshobo. There is a route, defined route, but our people have encroached on it. We have built on them. We have also developed farms along the route. So when the animals move, definitely the animals will stray into some of these things, and there are skirmishes. Those skirmishes that have been happening over time were restricted to, machete sometimes and stick, but not AK-47. Never AK-47, but there is criminality now, and so many people are now using the farmer-herder conflict to generate more conflict. But all of it is a lot of politics in it. Before the advent of politics, 21, 22 years ago, these things had become very, very prevalent. Prior to that, we never had anything like that. We should blame what is happening today on drugs, unemployment, and the elites. I will tell you this: when you see a Fulani man with 200 herd of cattle, he might not own them. He might just own about 10. The rest are really ours. There was cattle rustling. We armed these people to protect their animals from being rustled. This is how it began. Then now, our boys and our children and girls and even married women take drugs. These drugs are responsible for the footmen in politics. The other day, about 2 months ago, there was a workshop in the Muhammad Buhari Conference Center at the NIA. I presented a paper. I told the politicians that it was done by NAS. I told them that, look, you are responsible for some of these things that happen because you are the people using these young people as footmen. You give them drugs, they abuse people, and then you win your elections and all that. These people, after the elections, you don't see them, nobody gives them anything, and they now resort to violence, kidnapping, and all these things are as a result of that. The man in NDLE now is doing a good job, and we have told him, we have written to him, we have congratulated him. You and I should work in making our families secure, discourage our people from using drugs, make sure that there is no politics in all of this. The southern governors who are talking about, who are against open grazing and all that, are coming from a position of lack of understanding and education on what really happens. Some of the people who come into Nigeria are not coming from Nigeria only. This pastoralism is from East, North Africa, and some part of West Africa. I attended a program in AU at Addis Ababa. We had so many of these things, and everybody has this problem. But Nigerian problem is more because of these arms that I'm telling you.
So do you have a problem with certain provisions in the open grazing bill?
Provisions in the open grazing, or the curtailing, or the restriction or semi-sedentarization of the pastoralists through the NLTP. Right. I have no problem with that. In fact, as an architect, I have worked with that program. I have, when you sedentarize them, you are going to provide them the animals fodder. You provide schools for the pastoralists, clinics. You find that you even provide for value addition for their milk and the meat. And then you can create a symbiotic relationship. The people in the South are mistaken. I had a tour of the Southwest some time ago, I think from the 27th of last month to 30th of last month. In Oyo Town, I discussed with the Alafin, and I had him, he addressed us. He said that, look, Fulani are part of them. There is a very good relationship between them and Fulani. So the question of asking Fulani to go anywhere, outside is a fallacy. So we really need to look at this thing. We just don't talk about this. Just let us analyze what is happening and then say what we have to say, and that would help the whole nation. These people, if they are Nigerians, they deserve respect. They deserve fair treatment.
Okay.
Nobody should just sit down and say, no, we will not allow them. Then what about if you do that? If you do that, just take, for instance, the Fulani people are northerners for the sake of this discussion, and you say they are not allowed there. So what about the non-northerners that are sitting in our places and doing business? Are we going to ask them to go?
So what are other ways of, or I would say approaches to dealing with this criminality that seem to have now infiltrated, some very diligent and law-abiding citizens, who are herders? How do we go about this? What are the other areas of dealing with it?
Well, you see, a lot of work is being done by the security agents. If you look closely now, there is some respite. In fact, probably the military solution is not going to be the end in all. You have to, adopt non-military solutions. And these non-military solutions are where we come in. You need a change of mindset. You need the youngsters to appreciate that they don't have to wait for white-collar jobs, and they don't have to take drugs to escape. You also teach the parents and tell the parents that they are being irresponsible by by not looking at what their children are doing. The whole thing is a matter of looking inwards. You cannot say government. Who is government? You and I, we are government. So nobody will arrogate to themselves the knowledge of how to solve the problems. But it starts from the family. You in your own home, be sure that the correct thing is being done. To show your child or your offspring or your school leaver child that getting anything from anybody illegitimately will not last. He will not even come out to eat it. He will be hiding in the bush. Take all these people doing kidnapping. This kidnapping, what intrigues me about it is, if I I'm from Katsina, I can't come by road from Kaduna. If I can't get a plane from Katsina, I come by road to Kaduna and then come by rail to this place. Now, I have had people who went by road and they were kidnapped and kept in the bush. And then some of them even paid 10 million, 20 million, and they paid to these people who are in the bush. Do you think you can use 10 million while you are sitting in the bush? No. Can you use it? So, which means that they have cohorts in the cities. So a lot of work has to be done. Right. Because if you take 10 million and you take it to a very far-flung bush, what will you do with it?
All right. One other issue that is a factor contributing to this food inflation and food security is the issue of hoarding. How is the association dealing with this issue of hoarding by some, I would say, traders or maybe farmers?
You see, hoarding, even though Mr. President has said it, but, hoarding is not really the main thing. There are many acts of commission and omission from the part of some institutions. I will tell you this, and I want you to quote me. The CBN intervention is very good. It is making food available. But by an act of commission, they have what they call the prime anchors. These prime anchors are people who get 1 billion, 2 billion to give to outgrowers who will grow some food crops for them, like paddy and maize. Now, instead of this prime anchors to give the outgrowers, the real farmers, to do it, they are following the markets and buying off these produce. So when you buy during inflation, you exacerbate inflation. This is what is happening. Otherwise, show me the people who are holding, get their stores and break them and see whether you have anything there. I don't know how old you are, but when I was in Zaria in the late 70s and early 80s, there were people who were identified as hoarders. I remember in Zaria, around Sabangari area, if you go now, you will see old stores. There was a merchant, a very rich man, who was hoarding and keeping things there. In 1 year, I don't remember which year was it. Was it either 80 or 81? The law enforcement officers came and broke the shops, and they brought grains that were already broken, infested by insects and all that. Today, I'm not sure that you will see it anywhere. There may be some of it, but it is not the main cause. The main cause is many things are happening. Inflation is there, but on all aspects of Nigerian life, not only food. But the one that affects food is the one that is most felt by people. What it is that we have inflation, no doubt, but we are forgetting the purchasing power of Naira, which has been dwindling. It is unheard of. In the last 30 years, we have not seen where during harvest you also have skyrocketing prices of food. It is only now. Why? It is tangential to the value of the Naira. Go to Zone 4 today. Naira is, a dollar is about 580. In the banks is 430 and you don't get it in the bank. So there is inflation. The value of the Naira is low. So when I sell my paddy at 15,000, don't tell me that I am a Shylock. Rather, I'm selling it to buy other things that I don't produce. And I'm getting value because I have to also buy certain inputs that I use to produce the rice. So it's a catch-22.
Let's have your final thoughts now. In the midst of the dwindling fortunes of oil, like many people have said, there's a need to look elsewhere for revenue, for the Nigerian economy. Agriculture definitely gives an opportunity, but what are your expectations going forward for us to be able to really maximize some of the opportunities therein?
Well, we are on the right course, but we should have continuity of policy. The agriculture promotion policy, Alliance Green Alternative, should continue. We should consolidate that, invest more, and get people or farmers to do agriculture as a business. Then we will have food sufficiency and food security. This is my advice to Nigerians. You at the beginning you said there was a loss of interest on the part of agriculture. No, I'm telling you that even today I can hear vibrations on my phone right now. Before dusk, I will get like 20, 30 calls of young people wanting to get into agriculture. Agriculture is in the front burner now in Nigeria. The only thing is that we have to synergize all the issues. All those people who are participating in the agriculture space should work together. We should have the right kind of synergy and we will be there. CBN, NALDA, other windows, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the farmers and all should work together and have synergy. Then we will produce more than our expectations. We have a lot of cultivable land and irrigable land. We are using just 40% of it.
And that's the percentage is quite low.
Yeah, very, very low, really. For us to be able to bridge that gap of food insecurity, like we are saying, definitely there's need to pay more attention to the agricultural sector. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
We hope to have you next
It's my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We've been speaking with the president of All Farmers Association of Nigeria, architect Kabiru Ibrahim, sharing with us his thoughts. Thank you again. We look forward to having you again on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.